Hey, welcome guys. This is our first episode of Hot and Cold. It's a vlog that my wife and I have felt impressed to start just a few weeks ago. So thanks for tuning in. And just a little bit about why we call it Hot and Cold. It's because whether you've been married a year or 25 or 30 years, you've got seasons. And they are hot and they're cold, and sometimes they're like spring and fall. So they're comfortable seasons, but they don't last very long. We all have them, so we thought we'd do a blog to kind of explain and encourage folks how to weather all the different seasons in your marriage and still get through it in a healthy way. So just a little bit about us, not too much time, because really the intention of this vlog is to be encouraging tidbits for married couples under 10 minutes every episode, so that you can digest it quickly and go on with your day and your week with your spouse. Kaylee and I, we've been married 25 years, and it's been awesome, but it definitely hasn't been perfect, right?
Correct. So, with that, I would just say that yes, we consider each other to be our best friend. We love to hang out together. We definitely love going on dates, but there's also the normal day-to-day things that take place in which, especially being both firstborns, that creates a unique dynamic all in itself of both of us kind of being a little bit hard-headed. I know if you know us, that's probably comes as a shock to you, but yeah, we both are pretty stubborn and have a strong will in us. So given that, it does take work, and whether or not you're both firstborns or you're even, according to birth order, more compatible with one another, living together for 24/7 and also having, kids and going into different phases of life, you're going to experience conflict. So we have had those same conflicts, and I like to tell people that we don't fight very often, but when we do, we know how to do it.
We have a good one. We're well practiced.
So
yeah.
Just to encourage you that we don't proclaim to have a perfect marriage. There is no perfect marriage.
Nope.
We don't experience any kind of perfect until we hit heaven. And so, we just want you to know kind of some things that have worked for us to keep the flame alive and burning and in our marriage, and just keep it passionate and keep in love. So
passionate. That's another episode. We'll talk about passion. So episode 1, by popular demand, we took requests, and this is actually something that we have had to learn and relearn in 25 years, and that's how to continue dating on a budget. And I think there's two pieces in that. It's being intentional about making it happen and saying we want to schedule this, and then there's the budget piece. If you work paycheck to paycheck, how do you make that happen? Because I would say most couples, unless we're just really odd, but most couples, especially if you still got kids at home or kids in college, you can't afford to go to the theater as a couple every week. I mean, that's what, $40-50 for all the bells and whistles and seeing a movie together. So we've got some tips for you.
So one of the tips I'd like to say is if you have kids that need childcare, I know for us when our kids were younger, what we did was we would find a couple that would maybe co-op with us, and so we would swap childcare services for one another.
That's good. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's sometimes the biggest expense, I think, is the childcare. Even over going out on a date, you can't leave your kids at home alone. So that's one tip I want to give you. If you don't have family, we have a lot of military friends who we know don't have a lot of family, but I know, like, even in the military, they really try to help each other out. So I would encourage you to look at that as an option, to not let that stop you from going out, because the thing that we have learned is when you put each other first, it's actually a gift to your kids.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't leave their kids because they think that their kids are taking a sacrifice, but I would say the opposite, that they are being blessed by you keeping your marriage alive and healthy. So the other piece to that is we have always lived on a very tight budget, probably 90% of the time in our marriage. And we didn't always do this right. I wish I would have, been able to do some of these tips even back early on. But Dave Ramsey has a great system with envelopes, and I would encourage you just to have a dating envelope, and you stick a couple bucks in there every week if you can. And when you have enough saved up to go on a mini date, you can couple that with either Groupon, or you can couple it with those buy one get one free meal coupons. So
Or those local specials that pop up on your Facebook feed.
exactly, it doesn't have to take money to go on a date. So even a walk in the park, but you really need one date per month, I think, to just go on a nice dinner with each other. And
Just get out of the house.
I would encourage the guys to surprise your wife and make all these plans, handle the childcare, call your wife up and say, "Hey, tonight we're going out on a date, and
Yep.
I've got childcare covered." That will just probably make her cry. So in a good way.
Took a long time for me to learn that one, guys. Still trying to fine tune that one.
Yeah.
But yes, I can vouch that that'll bless her crazily.
But you could easily go on a $20 date once a month if you plan that out, and then do a weekly date, whether that's an in-home date, which we're going to talk about today, or whether it's a walk in the park, or going to grab a couple of super big gulps and from 7-Eleven and hanging out together, just sitting and talking on the park bench or something. Playing. We love to play Sequence. That's one of the games that we have been playing almost our entire marriage, and
Yep.
that's a lot of fun for us. So we consider that a date.
It's a healthy competition because, again, we're both firstborns, and so rarely does one of us lose and throw the board against the wall or something.
But even like at my workplace, we have a ping pong table. So you can get creative. If you
Yep.
have free things like that, I can get into my workplace in the evenings and we can go play ping pong together. And that's a date. It's just being together and having fun and enjoying hanging out with each other.
Yep, because what happens if you don't plan it and you're not intentional, it just doesn't happen, and you don't realize it's a problem until 10, 15 years into your marriage, and all of a sudden you realize you forgot how to have fun together.
Yeah.
So let's move on with the home date. Okay,
That's right.
We got to stay under our 10-minute commitment. So, just keeping it real, folks. Kaylee and I, one of our first movies that we ever watched when we were we married when we saw this? We were
Yes.
dating when we saw Top Gun, but then when we got married, we watched. Of course, this was back when it was on VHS, but we watched Cocktail. You can get any movie that you've got in your library. You can rent something on Redbox. You can look up something on Netflix, on TV. Just flip through what's even showing for free on cable, and plan ahead. Watch something at home. Or if this is another keeping it real thing,
Nostalgia.
because this is nostalgia for the Dumbler home. When we were first married, we loved this TV show with Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser called Mad About You, and it was us. Like, we are this couple. So if you've ever watched this show, that's what our marriage is like, in a big way. But we have the entire season of this on DVD, so sometimes it's fun to just, for nostalgia's sake, it takes you back to the early days of your relationship. And you can watch and rewatch those episodes together, those early shows, and it just kind of reminds you at that time and place when you were newly in love with each other. And I think it helps, like what you just said, Kaylee, keep that spark alive.
Yeah, so like I mentioned the guy kind of planning a date. It'd be great if you planned a date that you remembered one of the first movies that you watched, or your favorite TV
that's
show.
romantic.
Yeah, I mean that will earn brownie points right there. If you can't spend the money to go out, but you are intentional about planning something that will bring back those memories from when you first fell in love, it's a lot of fun to do that. And and then even spend time talking about the differences of how things are now compared to back then. So.
Yeah. Plus, as you watch, you'll laugh together, because there's been times we've laughed and it's like, wow, it was a great show back then, but man, some of that is really corny. Speaking of corny, we've got some popcorn here. This is our prop corn. Sorry,
We might have to edit that out.
I've got it. No, it's staying in. This is our prop corn, but it's real. I've been eating it. So you can pop your own popcorn at home. You can buy your own candy. You don't even have to feel guilty. I don't think anybody feels guilty about sneaking candy into the theaters anymore, but you don't have to sneak it in your home. And you've got your Coke, whatever you want to have to snack on, to drink, and have your popcorn, have your movie time. And I think we figured out $5 or less. Even if you rent a Redbox for a couple dollars, it's a really good, intimate couples date in your home for under $5. So I think most people can make that happen, especially if you get creative with what you said about the child care.
Yeah.
What else was I going to? Oh, popcorn. This is my favorite story. So when we were our first, 5-6 years that we were married, I loved going to the theater, but I couldn't, well, I'll correct that. I wouldn't go to the theater if I couldn't buy the popcorn, because for me, the theater experience is having the theater popcorn with all the extra butter and all that kind of stuff. So when we could afford it, we would plan a movie night at home. We'd get the movie, we'd get everything ready to go, and then our last stop would be going into a movie theater. We'd bypass the ticket booth, and we'd go straight to the concessions area, and we'd order a large bag or bucket of extra buttered popcorn, and we'd pay for that, and we'd leave. And it was really weird.
They thought that we were crazy.
They thought we were trying to sneak into the theater without buying tickets, because you have to show your ticket to the guy before you get to the concessions. So we're like, no, dude, really serious. We're just getting popcorn. We're leaving. So they always watched us really close. It was hilarious. So we'd get this popcorn. We'd race home before it got too soggy, and we would have movie popcorn at home with a cheap dinner date. So just be creative with that. If there's something about the theater experience that you like, that you can go there and buy and bring it. Kind of like taking your own candy to the theater, get your own movie, and then take the snacks home with you if you want to.
So we have a challenge before we do our drawing.
Yep.
Our challenge is to have you send us your most creative video.
Under 1 minute.
Okay.
So you can throw it on Instagram if you want to.
And telling us how you plan to create a date in a fun way on a tight budget, and just share with us all of those details and try to make it as creative as possible. We will get that narrowed down to the top 3, and then we will pick one winner.
That's right.
Who will get a $25 gift
$25 gift card
to go out on a date where you don't have to budget for it, but it is a free date on the Dumbler Home.
So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, that's pretty much where both of us, between the two of us, are. Video record yourselves on a date. Both of you need to be in the video. Give us some detail on how you made it happen. And then be sure when you post it to use hashtag hot and cold. Okay? We're going to search that hashtag, and we'll find all the people to narrow it down to the top 3.
Okay? And we're about to do a drawing, and I would like to say that there were only a couple of guys.
Yeah, there were only like 2 or 3, maybe 3's pushing it, men. So we might have in a future episode a challenge where there might be a giveaway just for men who share our vlog on social media, because we've gotten the majority of, probably 95% plus, of our recommended topics for future vlog posts, and sharing this promo for this first one were women, which is great. We love the ladies that promote this, but we'd love for the guys to get involved as well.
Keep it up, ladies. If you can't get your husband to watch one of these episodes with you, then keep doing it yourself, and just be encouraged that maybe at some point they will.
Yeah.
But I would just encourage them that could be your date. That could be your creative
That's
date.
your date. Watch us. Wow. Doesn't get much better than that.
All right. Are we ready for the drawing?
Let's do it.
Okay. Am I drawing?
You're drawing it.
Okay.
Look, we've got because we love coffee, so we've got our Starbucks cup here. Kaylee's drawing the first and only.
This person's getting a marriage book.
Right. This one is not the $25. This is a book on marriage, one that we have in our library that one or both of us have read.
Ooh.
So, all right, go ahead.
It is Lisa Jones.
Lisa Jones, you just won. There you go. Get in there. There you go. Lisa just won a marriage book. We'll get in touch with you on social media and figure out how to get that to you the best. So,
all right. Hope you have a fantastic day. We look forward to spending some time watching your creative videos on your dates, and sharing who the winner is, and sending you your gift card.
And we'd love for you, if you have a moment too, if you liked this and you want to see more, go ahead and click subscribe if you're watching it on live on YouTube. If you're watching it from the blog, the Lead Right blog, you can go ahead and click below in the notes to subscribe to the blog, and that way you won't miss one. So
we had about 33 entries for this drawing. We'll be doing another drawing the next time for another book.
Yep, another book giveaway. And they're not always going to be book giveaways.
Yeah.
Sometimes if we want guys to share stuff, maybe I don't know, we'll send something, maybe a Bass Pro Shop gift card or something like that. So anyway, you guys have a great time on your dates. We're really super excited to see your posts, your videos, and have fun with it. And God bless.